Just getting set up here. So, how's everybody doing today? How'd everybody do over the weekend? Did you guys have a great weekend? A good sober weekend? Did you drink? Did you not drink? Did you struggle? Did you have gains in your sobriety? All these are questions, but if you're questioning your alcohol intake, that's the key thing. That's the main goal. Is just to continue to question alcohol, continue to question your relationship with alcohol, and eventually, good things happen. So, if you're new to the channel, welcome. My name's Josh, living life alcohol free. If you are returning, welcome back, and I'm glad that you're all here. Today's topic is about um, getting our life back, taking life back from our addiction. The important thing is to, once we start to recognize that alcohol is taking and not giving, that's really when we can do something about it. Somebody had commented yesterday on one of my videos that, man, they're like a zombie when they were drinking, and that really made me think about it. We're stuck in it. We're just walking around. Either we're numb on alcohol, or we're hungover. We're feeling like death, and we're kind of brainwashed, and we're tranced, in this drinking life. It's hard to see it when we're stuck in it, though. It's hard to kind of step back and look at our life and look at ourselves and really acknowledge the fact that the drinking is making things worse. I mean, it seems like it's helping. It seems like it might be making things better in the moment, but in the grand scheme of things, it's really making things 10 times, 1,000 times harder to deal with. So that's what kind of this topic is about today. If you have anything in particular you want to talk about, please let us know in the comments. Um, what you're struggling with, so we can kind of get some back and forth going and discuss how we can help. What can we do to help you in your recovery, in your life, kind of, the problems that we face on a daily basis. They don't get easier. I mean, life never really gets easier, and especially if we're drinking alcohol to kind of um, cope, then really things are never going to get easier or better. So that's kind of the reason why I made this topic, is just because somebody mentioned that uh, we have, I said in one of my videos that I I didn't want life. I wanted alcohol, and I really do feel that and believe that. And I hadn't made that a topic in any of my videos or live streams yet, so I thought that was a good place to start, because on most days, if I was really questioning, like, do I want to keep doing this to myself? Do I want to keep living like this? I would think about it for a little bit of time, and I would always get to a point where I thought, you know what? Yes, I'm just going to drink. That's what I want. That's all I really uh, care about. I mean, I obviously I had things in my life. We all have things in our life that we care about, that we treasure, that we keep close to our hearts. But in the grand scheme of things, if we're drinking and we're addicted, the addiction wins out. It consumes 100% of us, and we can't give our best. We can't show up for ourselves. It's hard for us to show up for others. If we can't show up for ourselves, how are we really gonna show up for others? Um, so that's kind of what I wanted to talk about that today. So where are you? I mean, I was at a place in my life where I was just all consumed by drinking. It overtook my entire existence. From the moment I woke up to the moment I went to bed, it was alcohol. It was either I was thinking about what I was going to drink next, I was in the middle of drinking, or I was hungover from drinking. Those three things, and that was basically 24/7. There were maybe a few hours um, in a given day, like maybe a couple times a week, where I wasn't thinking about alcohol at all. Like I was sober, I was either not hungover or I was just working out from a hangover, like working it out. I started feeling better. Like in my 20s, and I mentioned this in recently in a few of my videos. In my 20s, I drank every other night. I didn't drink every day. Um, I drink to oblivion. I drank so many, and I would start either like when I got home from work, and that could be 2 or 3 in the afternoon, and I would drink all day into the night, and most likely go to bed like around midnight, 11 or 12 o'clock. So whatever I could fit in those 7 or 8 hours of drinking, that's just what I did. And so let's average 2 drinks um, per hour, and you're looking at like 15 drinks. And needless to say, I'm waking up in the morning, I'm feeling pretty bad. I think a lot of us that are in addiction um, we know what that 3 a.m. wake up call is. You wake up at 3 a.m. pretty much nonstop, if you're drinking, especially, and you have indigestion or a headache or both or whatever you have going on, but your mind starts racing, and it's hard to get back to sleep. But you might get back to sleep, get up, at your time, whatever that is, 6, 7, 8 a.m., and you start your day over, and you're probably hungover. I mean, I was obviously 15 beers, 15 drinks, and that could be mostly beer, but I did like bourbon, uh, different like Irish whiskey. I drink wine sometimes, but I would always like kind of kickstart my binge with a couple shots, 2 or 3 drinks of hard liquor. It might be, like a margarita. It might be um, an Arnold Palmer. It might be whatever. It might just be shots. I might just go straight to a couple shots. And then I would start drinking light beer. I might have like 1 or 2 craft beers that are heavier in alcohol um, to mixed in there, maybe 3 or 4 even. But typically it was like light beer just so I could drink all day, and I didn't feel like I was like wasted in the first like 2 or 3 hours. I wanted to be able to at least focus on what I was doing. If it was like a sporting event that I was watching, I wanted to remember it. But let's face it, if we're drinking like that, like tons of alcohol, um, we're getting to a point in our day and our night where we're starting to black out. And I would typically forget pretty much, like I could forget what happened after probably like 3 or 4 hours. Um, not completely forget everything, but there like it would you would start to like break up uh and black out certain periods of your drinking session. Do you guys black out? Please put in the comments what you guys are dealing with. Whoever's here, welcome in. Please feel free to share whatever you have going on in your drinking life. If you're sober, thanks for being here. If you're looking to get sober or stay sober, let us know what you guys are dealing with. But so I'm just talking about how life just alcohol just consumed my entire life. And like I said, in my 20s, I had periods of days or hours of days where I felt good. I felt like 100%, like I was sober and I was enjoying my day. I wasn't anxious. And typically, I would have panic attacks because I had panic attacks from the age of 24 to about 34. Um, and those panic attacks were pretty much every time after I would binge drink, and they would come on. They would be rapid. Um, it was usually worry about, it wasn't like any one thing in particular, but I felt like, I was single for most of that time, and for like the first 4 years of that, after I had that panic attack when I was 24, I really just felt like I was alone. And I think that my anxiety of just being alone, and maybe like the prospect of just live, like ultimately maybe that was just going to be the way that my life went. I was going to be alone. Um, that's really, I think, what led to a lot of my anxiety. Like it was just I was lonely. Not always, but for the most part, I went to work, I came home, and I was pretty much by myself the rest of the day. And that builds up. That loneliness can kind of build up. So I uh, I ended up, um, I just struggled with the anxiety and the panic attacks. I had a medication that I could take. If I needed to, I would take it. But that was after a couple of years of that. I kind of looked at that like, I read up on it, Ativan, and it kind of was like, if you mix that with alcohol, or you're using it and you're drinking. And I didn't use it while I was drinking, but I would use it like when I had hangovers. And I read that it could be dangerous and it could do damage to your liver. So I just basically stopped taking that completely. Um, but I got to a point where it was like, this is just my life. I'm a binge drinker, and that's just the way it's going to be. When I got into my late 20s, I started dating more. I started really looking like I don't know. I had a death like when my grandpa died. I was 27 or 28, and he was somebody I looked up to, and I just I felt like I wanted to do an honor by him by either quitting drinking or start questioning my drinking. And I opened up to my doctor about how much I was drinking, and I was pretty honest, like not completely, but I did tell him I had like a 12 pack 3 days a week. And I had more than that, but that was as honest as I had ever been with anybody in the medical field. Um, and I felt like I needed to be honest and get his reaction to the amount. And needless to say, him not being a drinker, really, he was like, "Man, I think if I had 12 beers in a sitting, I probably would be dead." And that's probably true if you don't have a high tolerance like I did, like a lot of us do. If you have 4 or 5, you feel like terrible probably, or you feel like you're gonna die. Let alone 12. But that was like the first time I was really honest with someone about how much I was drinking, other than like my mom or like my friends, my best friend. But that really kind of helped me at that time, um, get his reaction. He said, "I can get you some help. I can recommend this, that, and the other thing." Ultimately, none of it really helped. I didn't really find anything that resonated with me. I knew AA wasn't for me. Um, but I got back into trying to open up socially, and because for most of those years, from like 24 to 28, I isolated. Uh, I just I went through some things at the age of 23 that really made me feel like I just didn't want to be around anybody anymore. I didn't trust people. I didn't really like most people. I didn't trust, and the humanity as a whole. I just felt like I didn't fit in, you know. And alcohol quieted that. It made it feel like, I had a excuse me, I had a companion, and that was my relationship with alcohol. I mean, I had a relationship with alcohol. Let's just face it. If we're drinking all the time, alcohol consumes us, and we can't quit. We don't want to quit. We'd rather drink than live a normal. I mean, normal. What is normal? But a healthy life. You know what I mean? Like a life that, like, you wake up, you feel like you have a purpose. You go on about your day, but you're not thinking about alcohol or turning to drugs or other things to help you escape. Um, and that was one of the things that I didn't really learn when I was in my teenage years. When I turned to alcohol when I was 15 years old, that was one of the things that I didn't learn how to like handle life. I didn't learn healthy coping mechanisms. Um, Ultimately, and I'll get into that either later or in another video. But like ultimately, what recovery has helped me do is learn techniques to cope with life, accept life for how it is, even when tough things happen. Not jump and get so bent out of shape about it, but try to roll with it, cope with it without alcohol or anything else. Realize that this is the way. This is just life. Like this is, and that was one of the things I was not accepting of when I was young. When I was young, I don't know, how it is for you guys. When I would look around, I knew there were people that felt the same way, but there was also a lot of people in my life that I felt like they had things figured out, at least more than I did, you know. And that alone makes you feel less than, can make you feel, you know, like an inferiority complex, can make you feel like you just want to go drink, you know, numb that stuff out, like whatever, you know what I mean? And that leads to anger and resentment. It doesn't lead anywhere good. It leads to, self-defeating attitudes, self-defeating behavior, self-esteem issues. Like I can't handle anything, so I might as well just go drink. And that's really just what I wanted. And so, but really, what sobriety or being alcohol free or recovering or whatever you want to call it has been able to give me back is my ability to, if I ever had any ability to. I think we're all headed in the right direction when we're younger, but it just depends on who we have that we're looking up to. The people I was, my parents, the people that I looked up to, they weren't exactly, people that could give me what I needed. And I'm not blaming them. They did their best. And I mean, in particular, I would say one of them did their best. I wouldn't say that both of them or all of them, because I mean, the one person that was always present in my life was my mom. But and then I have like a few different like father figure types that I had over the years, but none of them were what I needed. And I'm grateful that I had them. But but yeah, I mean, if we didn't have that kind of upbringing that we needed, yeah, we're gonna turn to things and we're gonna use that stuff, and that's ultimately what I did. But eventually, like growing up and growing in, and getting older, and like I said, the death of my grandpa really was eye opening for me. It was like, you know, he, like I said, I looked up to him more than anyone that was in my day to day, as far as like male figures, more than anybody else. I wanted to be like him more than anyone else that was ever in my life. I wanted stability like he had. I wanted a long term relationship like he had. Um, and I would say I wanted to be like my grandparents, but in particular like my grandfather. Um, but just, you know, stability. And they had an alcohol free home, and that was something that I could feel comfortable with. And whenever I would see them, and it was maybe only like 3 times a year that I would go there and stay either a night or two, sometimes three, usually during the holidays, but then maybe in the summertime too. Um, and take rides around with his, like he was a truck driver, so I'd ride around his town with him, and you know, he was hard of hearing, so we had some conversation, but for the most part it was just kind of quiet. And growing up as an only child, I liked quiet. So I mean, for me, that was like, man, I'm here. I'm away from all that stuff at home and all that trying to escape with alcohol or and drugs or both, and other things, whatever. But I that's when I kind of felt like I want to live like a life where and be married and have a home that's safe like that. Like no alcohol in the house, no drugs in the house, no people coming in and out of our house that use drugs and alcohol, people that um you know, not to say that people that use drugs and alcohol are bad. I mean, I don't consider myself a bad person, and I drank for 27 years and used drugs sometimes in that 27 years. Um but at the same time, it's just not like it's, especially if you used it the way you used alcohol the way I did. um eh, it's just you don't want that to be around you or the people you care about. And so um ultimately that was kind of what I wanted and out of my life. And I always kept that in the back of my mind, and it was elusive for a long time. I prayed over it all the time. I wouldn't say I was very strong in my faith in my 20s. I would say that I I prayed and I believed, and I trusted that eventually things would turn out the way that I wanted them to, the way that I envisioned my life to turn to. I pictured that that would happen. I mean, it didn't happen right, you know, it didn't happen quickly, but things eventually started to turn in the right direction. Um, I went I went back to school. I got my degree. I met who would ultimately be my wife. I got a good job. We had a daughter. I mean, just things happened, and things were happening that I planned on a long time ago. You know, but I was still drinking. I was still drinking through all of that. And it wasn't until several years into my marriage that I started to think, you know, alcohol isn't serving me well now. And I don't have to just think about me anymore. I'm thinking about my family, my wife, my kids. And I just was like, you know, I'm starting to really feel like bitter and angry and hold resentments. I'm ruminating about stuff that's not just happening now. I'm ruminating now, and I always had ruminated about stuff that happened to me when I was younger. But like I started to really notice that um, I was dwelling on stuff that happened when I was in high school, and I'm married now, and I have a family, and I have what I always wanted. I have a good person in my life, a good relationship with my wife, and I have things going on. Um, but again, like that didn't change things right away. I was in that for a while. I was in that for years. In that period of I want to be done with alcohol, but I'm still finding benefit in it. Um, so I was in that period of flux for 3 or 4 years, and I've talked about that a little bit recently in my videos and in the live streams too. Just how much of an impact prayer and patience is in this. Um, Luckily, my wife stuck with me even when I was going through all that, and we had other things going on, and with our kids, one in particular. But we had some serious issues to deal with, and throughout all that, I wasn't able to be the person I needed to be for my wife and kids because I was drinking, and I was consumed, and I couldn't handle some of it, so I turned to alcohol even more. And I, as much as I wanted a good life, I still wanted to keep drinking, and I had that battle, that constant like battle, and yeah, ultimately I was able to get through it. Um, and but like I said, it was a stepping stone after one thing after another. Ultimately, it was the pandemic that opened my eyes to my drinking because it accelerated. Um, and then I had a blow up at my family, and then I apologized to all of them. I thought I need to quit. I don't know if I can quit, but I'm going to, either taper off alcohol or just not drink again. Ultimately, I didn't drink again. I mean, by the grace of God, I prayed and I begged. I was on my hands and knees. I begged God to take me out of my addiction. And it was a couple weeks later that I ultimately had that issue, that I didn't pick alcohol back up. I found a couple of books. I found a community in that book, a sober group. Um, I didn't even know it was a sober group. I really thought it was a group that was like living life, um, controlling alcohol, like trying to live life where you can just have one or two and moderate your drinking. Ultimately, I found out that this was like completely like alcohol free. Most like 90% of them were alcohol free for months and sometimes years. And I thought, I should give that a try because these people seem to really be talking it up. Like this is a good life. And so that coupled with therapy, coupled with being allowing myself to be vulnerable, uh, and once I got through those major urges to drink in those first, like especially that first few weeks, um, once I made it to 30 days, I knew I could do it. And then my next goal was 60, and I made it to that. And then it was between 60 and 90 days where I had a huge urge to drink. I got through it with the help of a friend from my sober group. She said, if you make it through this, you're going to be stronger for the next one, and you're going to be proud of yourself, and you're going to know that you can do this. And she was right, and that was around day 72 or 73 of being alcohol free, and I'd never had that strong of an urge again to drink after that. So it was all of those, leaning on all of those things those people and those tools that I had in my life to get through it. So, so yeah, that's what I got for you today. If you stuck around, thank you so much for watching this. If you have any comments, please put them down below. This will go public. It'll be uploaded today, later, and you can watch it again or watch it for the first time. Please like and subscribe if you found this or any of my other videos helpful for you in your life and your sobriety. It's not just about living life alcohol free, but it's about having a good life, about having a healthy life. I've got videos that come out every Sunday and Wednesday. I do these live streams. I try to be on here at 10 a.m. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and stay consistent on that, because consistency is not only important for this YouTube channel, but it's important just for our life, for our recovery, and just it improves everything if we can just stay consistent with it and replace what used to be a drinking session with other healthy things. Build on that. Use that every single day, and just do that same routine. Routines are important in this, and yeah, so thanks for being here, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you Wednesday. We'll see you back here. Take care.